Hi, it's G from Native Speakers Academy, and welcome to another edition of 10-Minute English. This is where we introduce short educational articles from recent news or from around the internet for upper intermediate and advanced level students. That happens to be levels B2 and C1 in the Common European Framework. And so on your screen in front of you, you should be able to see the article that we are going to work through today. It is French bread spiked with LSD in CIA experiment. But before we dive into this interesting article, I would like to point you in the direction of our home pages. On the left side of your screen, you should be able to see Native Speakers Academy Center for Educational Theory and Research. That's nsa-slovakia.com, and on our front page there we have a list of our latest research articles. Feel free to explore at your leisure. Remember, you can use the search box at the top to go back through any one of our 300 different research articles that have been posted. These articles are in the areas of education, philosophy, sociology, and history. On the right side of the page, you can see our YouTube channel. There are well over 200 videos there, so please feel free to explore that at your leisure. Our last 10-minute English video was entitled Breastfed Babies, and it was about all the great benefits that you can bring to your children by breastfeeding for longer. You might also want to check out our Pinterest boards. We have 13 of them on subjects such as health, our curiosity board, that's for homeschooling and unschooling, our learning issues board, and our latest board is the business world, with lots of information for managers and coaches in business. Or you can just explore our posts individually. Here are some that we have posted within the last 24 hours. And I think infographics are a very nice way to explore subjects. The visual element is extremely important. Here's one that I posted earlier: how to stop negative thoughts from getting you down. A lot of motivational information we have there. So, why are we here? We're here to work through an article together. Where's the article? The article is right there on the screen. As usual, I have highlighted the important vocabulary and phrases in yellow that you will need to understand. There are quite a few in this article, so you can pause the video and check the vocabulary before we study, or you can guess from the context and check your understanding after. If you are checking out the vocabulary, I recommend typing in define followed by the word you're interested in to Google. Here's one of the words from today's article: poison, a substance that is capable of causing illness or death of a living organism when introduced or absorbed. If you go to the online etymology dictionary, you find that poison, a deadly potion or substance, is related to potion. If you explore potion, you find potion, medicinal drink from Old French. And what's interesting here is that if you go back to the Sanskrit and Greek roots, you get a meaning of to drink. You get poton, potos, and the Old Church Slavic piti, peat, which is still used today in Slovakia, leading to pivo, the Slovak for beer. Which is interesting for me because I am bang in the middle of Slovakia, coming coming to you from Bansko Bystrica, surrounded by hills. Lovely place. Come and visit. Right. Our article today is French bread spiked with LSD in CIA experiment. The source is what's the source? The Daily Telegraph, thetelegraph.co.uk. Now, this is not a new article, but it relates to new articles. That's why we're going to have a look at it. If you are sitting comfortably, then we will begin. So, a 50-year mystery over the cursed bread of Pont-Saint-Esprit, I apologize for my pronunciation, which left residents suffering hallucinations, has been solved after a writer discovered the US had spiked the bread with LSD as part of an experiment. Thank you very much, United States. In 1951, a quiet, picturesque village in southern France was suddenly and mysteriously struck down with mass insanity and hallucinations. At least 5 people died, dozens were interned in asylums, and hundreds afflicted. For decades, it was assumed that the local bread had just been unwittingly poisoned with a psychedelic mold. Now, however, an American investigative journalist has uncovered evidence suggesting the CIA peppered local food with the hallucinogenic drug LSD as part of a mind control experiment at the height of the Cold War. I thought the Cold War was between America and Russia. Perhaps not. Perhaps it was against everybody. The mystery of Le Pain Maudit, I apologize again, cursed bread, still haunts the inhabitants of Pont-Saint-Esprit in the Gard, southeast France. On August the 16th, 1951, the inhabitants were suddenly racked with frightful hallucinations of terrifying beasts and fire. Oh my God. You go to your shop to get the morning bread and nothing's ever the same again. One man tried to drown himself, screaming that his belly was being eaten by snakes. An 11-year-old tried to strangle his grandmother. Another man shouted, "I am a plane!" before Je suis avion. Yes, that's how I shouldn't speak French. I apologize for that. Because I have no idea how the grammar should be constructed. Another man shouted, "I am a plane," before jumping out of a second floor window, breaking his legs. Really? He then got up and carried on for 50 yards. Another saw his heart escaping through his feet and begged a doctor to put it back. Many were taken to the local asylum in straitjackets, you don't say. Time magazine wrote at the time, among the stricken delirium rose patients thrashed wildly on their beds, screaming that red flowers were blossoming from their bodies and that their heads had turned into molten lead. Eventually, it was determined that the best-known local baker had unwittingly contaminated his flour with ergot, a hallucinogenic mold that infects rye grain. I wonder if that affects whiskey. Another theory was that the bread had been poisoned with organic mercury. Organic mercury. However, H.P. Albarelli Jr., an investigative journalist, claims the outbreak resulted from a covert experiment directed by the CIA and the U.S. Army's top secret Special Operations Division, SOD, at Fort Detrick, Maryland. The scientists who produced both alternative explanations, he writes, worked for the Swiss-based Sandoz Pharmaceutical Company, which was then secretly supplying both the Army and the CIA with LSD. You can imagine that someone dropped it into the bread for a bit of a joke and it all went horribly wrong. Right. Mr. Arborelli came across CIA documents while investigating the suspicious suicide of Frank Olson. Frank Olson. You should look into Frank Olson. Very interesting man. A biochemist working for the SOD who fell from a 13th floor window 2 years after the cursed bread incident. Note the CIA handbook says falling from open windows is the best way to make something look like suicide. How do I know that? I don't know. One note transcribes a conversation between... I mean, people just don't fall out of windows, especially well-known scientists. It doesn't happen, right? One note transcribes a conversation between a CIA agent and a Sandoz official who mentions the secret of Pont-Saint-Esprit, maybe, mon Dieu, and explains that it was not at all cursed by mold, but by diethylamide, the D in LSD. While compiling his book, A Terrible Mistake, The Murder of Frank Olson and the CIA's Secret Cold War Experiments, Mr. Albarelli spoke to former colleagues of Mr. Olson, two of whom told him that the Pont-Saint-Esprit incident was part of a mind control experiment run by the CIA and the US Army. Why don't you test it on your own people? Who knows, perhaps they did. There are some videos somewhere, I remember seeing them of LSD experiments on soldiers as well. After the Korean War, they're all hugging each other and running around trees and things. After the Korean War, the Americans launched a vast research program into the mental manipulation of prisoners and enemy troops. A vast research program. That's what they do with your tax money. Scientists at Fort Detrick told him that agents had sprayed LSD into the air and also contaminated local food. Food? I'm sure that's meant to be food products. Mistake. There we go. There's always at least one. Locals in Pont-Saint-Esprit still want to know why they were hit by such apocalyptic scenes. I'm sure they do. At the time, people brought up the theory of an experiment aimed at controlling a popular revolt, said Charles Grano 71. I almost kicked the bucket, he told the weekly French magazine Le... and I can't even... what's that? Inrocupitables? Maybe? I'd like to know why. Somebody can tell me what that means in English. Please, somebody tell me. Oh, look, here's a phrase commonly used in English as well. Can I highlight it? Kick the bucket. To kick the bucket. He died. So there we go. The source is the Telegraph. And do you think this is isolated? Do you think this happened only once? Well, guess what? Here's the original article. And look what else I found. From theguardian.com. Millions were in germ war tests. Much of Britain was exposed to bacteria sprayed in secret trials. We don't have time to go through all these articles, but I just wanted to show you that it's not completely isolated. The Ministry of Defence turned large parts of the country into a giant laboratory to conduct a series of secret germ warfare tests on the public. Thank you very much, Ministry of Defence. You wonderful people. I wonder how many people died. I guess nobody cares. There were more than 100 covert experiments. Thank you very much. Uh, let's see what happened. They had fluorescent particle trials where they dropped huge amounts of zinc cadmium sulfide on the population. The government insisted the chemical is safe. Of course it does, don't trust anything they say. It's recognised as... Oh, let's highlight the whole paragraph. While the government has insisted the chemical is safe, don't worry, go back to sleep. Cadmium is recognised as a cause of lung cancer and during the Second World War was considered by the Allies a chemical weapon. There we have it, the British government dropping chemical weapons on their own population. We have people exposed to bacteria, including E. coli and something that mimics anthrax. We've got the sabotage trials. It just goes on and on and on, doesn't it? Some families in areas which bore the brunt, which took most of the secret tests, are convinced the experiments have led to their children suffering birth defects. Really? Not surprising, isn't it? I mean, what are they doing now? If they were doing this back then, what are they doing now? I can't even imagine what they're doing now. Anyway, thank you very much, British government, for doing all your lovely experiments on the British people there. Imagine that you fight a war against the enemy, and then you find out your own government's dropping the same stuff the enemy was dropping on you. It's what a nightmare. And more recently, this was in the news. The village that fell asleep. Mystery illness perplexes Kazakh scientists, and this is in Kazakhstan, where nobody really cares about anybody. I imagine. Lovely building, right? And this story is it's from Wednesday, the 18th of March, so this is quite recent. One day last summer, Viktor Kazachenko set off across the steep from his village in northern Kazakhstan. He was driving to the nearest town on some errands, but he never arrived. My brain switched off, he says. That's it, I don't remember. Kazachenko had been hit by the so-called sleeping sickness that is plaguing Kalakhe, a remote region about 300 miles west of the country's capital, Astana. Interesting place, Astana. Should have a look at it. Just type it into Google Images and see what comes up. You'll be quite surprised. The mystery illness sent residents into comas, sometimes lasting days on end. I was going to town on the 28th of August, Kazachenko told some website. Still disorientated by the experience, I came back to life on the 2nd of September. So he blacked out. He blacked out while driving a motorcycle with his wife riding with him. It's good it wasn't a foreign vehicle, he jokes, gesturing at his car. Oh my god. So, of course the government have no idea why this is happening, and even if they do find out, they'll keep it a national secret anyway. My thoughts and notes. Why do we have national secrets? So that the people at the top don't know. So that people at the top can avoid responsibility, basically. What's that term when you avoid responsibility? Plausible deniability. We didn't know at the time, blah blah blah. Secrets are the enemy of a free and open society. See the speech by John F. Kennedy. I think that's JFK and the press. You can find it on our YouTube channel. Trust no one that you don't personally know. Anyone who you don't know who says they want to help you, run in the opposite direction. Stay alert, be aware. Look at what's happening in the environment around about you. The world is just a giant laboratory. I'm quite sure that other experiments are happening all the time. Did you know that the United States exploded 50 nuclear weapons in the upper atmosphere in the 1950s. 50 nuclear weapons just to see if they could make a hole in the ozone layer. 50. And of course all the SHIT fell down on us, didn't it? Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Anyway, this is about all we have time for today. Let us know if you liked or enjoyed the article, and let us know if you would like us to cover anything similar to this in the future. Remember, our home site is www.nsa-slovakia.com for all of our research articles. And if you are interested, we do offer special free HD Skype consultations for students, teachers, and companies and business people. If you're a student and you'd like more information about exams, let us know. If you're a teacher and you'd like advice about how to teach grammar in the classroom, you'd like some pointers, if you'd like some resource ideas, some suggestions for organization, we can help you. If you're a business and you want to know how you can improve your presentation skills, how you can use the psychology of language to increase your productivity, then we can help you with that. That's it. That's about all we have time for today. Another session will be posted very soon. Until then, I hope you have a great time wherever you are, and keep in touch with us through Facebook, Google+, LinkedIn, Pinterest, YouTube, all the cool places. Right. Speak to you soon. Bye for now.